Good Sunday evening, high school sports fans. Joe Gillaway with Lingelstown Gazette Sports live from the Orchard Street studio. And this is our high school football week 9 recap show. I'll be joined momentarily by our panel of experts along with a special guest as soon as we're done thanking those responsible for bringing you tonight's show, our Lingelstown Gazette Sports Platinum sponsors. And they are Rickabaz Electric, Payor Apparel, Ted's Bar and Grill, Hoffman Ford, Freedom Financial Wealth Management, Tire Mart, American Legion, Post 272, Modern Imprint, Team PA, AAU Basketball, Crystal Bob at Howard Hanna Real Estate, Underdog Sports Bar and Grill, Capital Region Insurance Agency, Sam Hartley Decking, and Tonino's Pizza. Thanks to those great local businesses for their continued support of Lingelstown Gazette Sports and our area student athletes. Upcoming on Gazette Sports Chat this Thursday, the 24th, we're going to take a look at some modern day multi-sport athletes. The multi-sport athlete isn't quite as popular as it once was, and we have three on the boys' side that are really doing their thing with multiple sports. Nolan Bazolka from Cumberland Valley, Noah Dewey from Camp Hill, and Josh Smith from Mechanicsburg. And we're going to learn a little bit more about them and their sports and how they maintain overlapping sports seasons and everything related to that. And then we're working on getting a date set for the girls' side of it, and that will be Emma Kostelak-Lauer, Anna Lehman, and Sienna Mans. Also, Week 10. Okay, listen closely. We're going to do this show next Sunday. That'll be the Week 10 recap, and then the following Wednesday, the 30th, we're going to do a separate show. It's going to be a postseason preview show. So anyway, we have right now with us Dave Burman and Terry Clark, and momentarily we'll be joined by Ben Dupree and Travis Waters. But I'm going to bring in our first guest ever. This is the 9th week we've done this, and we haven't even thought about having a guest. So when Dennis's name, Coach Shaw's name, got thrown in there, I immediately said yes, because we're from Harrisburg, man, but we root for you down there. Just so you know. We root for Chester down there. We kind of have our own versions of Chester with Steel High and Harrisburg, and just that kind of the grit and the commitment to sports and whatnot. So, Coach Shaw is a Chester, PA native, 2007 West Catholic grad, where he rushed for 3,444 career yards and 34 touchdowns. He led his 2006 Burrs team to its first Philly Catholic League title in 49 years. With a huge win over three-time defending champs Archbishop Wood. He spent 8 seasons as an assistant coach at Chester before taking over the reins as head coach before the start of the 2023 seasons. His Clippers teams have logged a 20-3 record since his transition over to the top job, including an 8-1 record this season and a number 2 ranking statewide in the 5A classifications. Coach Shaw is referred to by many in his home community as the voice for his ability to connect with the youth in the Chester community. Chester Clippers head coach Dennis Shaw, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you guys for having me, man.
Now, I'm going to ask one question, then I'm going to turn it over. And this isn't really related to football too much. Okay. What is a burr? You played for the West Cat. I think it's a little piece of like a shard of metal. Is that what it is? A burr?
Nah, it's kind of like it's like something off of a tree. I didn't know this obviously until I got there. Actually, it was my senior year when I finally what the hell is a burr? Like, who do I play for?
So you didn't know either then. All right.
I had no idea what a burr was. Like, we didn't have a burr mascot, so it's like
right.
But it's something that comes off of a tree.
Okay. All right. So, well, that's my question for now. Anybody else want to jump in? We got Ben has joined us. So has Travis.
All right.
Coach Dennis Shaw here.
How you doing, Coach Shaw?
What's going on, bro? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Joe told us you were going to be on the show today, and I just wanted to ask you, how was it changing the culture there? What was the biggest hurdle you think?
The biggest thing for us, as far as changing the culture, I know it's a cliche statement, but it's really what it is. Like, just getting guys to buy in for football. Now, obviously, I'm pretty sure all you guys know the history of Chester when it comes to Chester. You hear basketball, obviously the lineage of basketball, the dominance, the state championship, so many years here, the pros. So it's just like the biggest transition was like getting the guys and the kids to buy in to like, yo, we could be just as good as football if we took that aspect as serious as we did basketball as a whole.
Now, do you have a lot of basketball guys on the team?
Actually have no basketball players on the team.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wow.
well, 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 Jalen and Deron, they're football
Yeah.
guys. They did play basketball. They helped out. And then Dom Toy, who's at UConn now, he played last year. But as far as like those dudes, they just how football players put on a basketball uniform. They not basketball. They out there. They out there fouling and all that type stuff. Like they ain't basketball bulls. But as far as like basketball guys, don't really have any on the football team, which we're trying to change as well.
Well, that just shows how much talent's in the school. Because usually your top guys are your top guys.
Yes, absolutely.
Or they at least play both sports. So for y'all to, yeah.
Yeah, so
Anybody
we
else
have
want-
so those like Jalen and Deron, the twins, they're athletes. So you can put them in any type of sports uniform and they're gonna be athletes. So they play basketball. They actually help the team really, really, really well as far as like guarding guys, 94 feet,
Yeah.
just that competitive, they just got that competitive side. So
Oh, all right.
Coach, this Travis Wars, I want to say, first I want to say congratulations. I know the season isn't over, but really
Thanks,
impressed with what you guys have been doing, in changing the culture. And as someone who was actually coached at an urban school like you, there are different challenges that I think a lot of people who don't teach, who haven't coached in an urban environment don't understand some of those some challenges. Sometimes X's and O's take a back seat. So my question to you is, what kind of challenges have you had to overcome, based on coaching at Chester?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like you said, urban school, urban area, like you deal with all the stuff outside of playing football, outside of coaching. Like, unfortunately, like we experienced a death of one of our players over the summer. Just things that many schools don't deal with. So those are the challenges. We always say, like, we have a statement like to our parents that we do more counseling and fathering than what we do coaching football. And we're trying to get to a space where it becomes we can just coach because we'll be that more dangerous. But like you said, like problems in the community, lack of funding is a huge one. So we just like face some challenges that just simply like certain schools don't face. But over the years we've been able to like manage it and keep the main thing, and we've been progressing slowly but surely.
Yeah, really impressive what you guys have done. Really impressive.
Thanks, man. Thanks, appreciate
it. I'll go next. So, Coach Shaw, Chester football, like you said, Chester. When people say Chester, they think basketball, but that's no longer the case.
Right.
Joe rattled off your record since you took over. I think he said it was 20-3.
Yeah,
which is very, very impressive. It's very impressive. So Chester football really started to get on the map last year. You guys went 10-2, which was fantastic.
Right.
You guys had some buzz over the summer. It was a popular pick to be a state contender for 5A.
Right.
But I want to know, like, what was the message to your team coming into this year? What was the goals? What was you guys looking to do?
Well, we were fairly young last year. So the only piece, like, we had a good senior class, but the only piece that we lost, as far as like you can't replace, was Dom Toy, obviously being a 6'5", 220-pound tight end defensive end, one of the better players in the state. So we knew what we had coming back.
Right.
And we knew we were loaded. Last year we went to the district championship and lost in the district championship in a game that we probably should have won. 16 penalties. We knew that we didn't have our starting running back, who was a 1,300-yard rusher all state last year. We didn't have him in the playoffs. And just knowing that he was coming back, I think the guys, the players, they had more of a chip on their shoulder as far as sense of urgency. Like, it's time now. Like, we're not even worried about what happened last year. We know where we were. We know we walked off that field crying. We know that we didn't get the prize that we thought we were due. And it's just like, it's pretty much a testament to the guys and understanding that the goal for us is we just want to Dow Val. Yeah, that's a goal for us. But the main goal for us is winning the district championship and competing in that state semifinal to be going to Cumberland Valley the week of the state championship. So we knew what we presented in the offseason. We worked our tails off. We practiced hard. Like we start in the offseason, January, mid-January, and then we just had the same core group of guys from January all the way up until camp. I know for some, practice doesn't start until camp. But our guys just been locked in for so long, and it's just like when they got out there their first game against a pretty decent Perkiomen Valley team who did beat us last year. That was the main thing. It's like, all right, let's show everybody like, yo, this not what it is, and this is what we gonna be from the season. So that game set the tone, and we've been rolling pretty much ever since. And in 2 weeks, it's the season is the real season starts in 2 weeks. So we're up for the challenge, man.
Absolutely. One other question. So the earlier matchup, you guys only
There you
lost versus Imhotep. How did that matchup come up?
Well, we scrimmaged them last year.
Okay.
And I mean, even in the scrimmage, I think they beat us 2 touchdowns to 0, 3 touchdowns to 0 in the scrimmage. But we knew that not only that we could compete. I think like some people hear Imhotep, man, and they think like, bro, we ain't coming in this joint. We're not coming in this game just to be like, yo, we played them and we played them tough. Like our guys, we coming into the game like, yo, we can not only beat them, but we can beat them handily. So so it came about like I talked to their coach. Me and their coaches are real cool because we pretty much have the same little like thing of how we do things as far as like inner city and stuff like that. So we talk all the time. And I just told them, I told their coach 2 years ago, I was like, give me 2 years, let me get right, and then we're gonna come holler at y'all about something. And that was the year. This year was the year. We actually got out to a real good start, man.
Yep.
Like we was treating them, man. We got out to a real good start. We was up 18-7 at halftime. We did get this is like the only thing that I like. If we want to say we go back and change or regret as coach, we got caught like the touchdowns was 4-4. We got caught chasing a damn extra point that got blocked on the first touchdown, and that was it. I mean, it was a good game. We were up 18-7. They took the lead 21-18. We took the lead 24-28. And then their best player just became their best player, and we lost to their best player. That's on Penn State. Like we know how it go. Like best player, their guy started to become a guy. Our guy was a guy. Our guy had 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and then their guy had 250 yards with 3 touchdowns, and they ended up edging us out at the end. But overall, it was a ball game for us.
Right. Yeah, it was a great showing by you guys. It was a fantastic game. I was just curious to like how the game came about. Like what came in play.
The game came about before through us old heads just talking crap like, bro, we gonna line it up and we gonna see what happens.
Right. That's what it's about. That's what the community wanted. They wanted to see that. So I love it.
And I told them last year a lot of people was anticipating our matchup last year. So they destroyed us all summer, even though we beat them in a 7-on-7 at 10. But they destroyed us all like, yo, we ain't trying to hear that. Y'all messed up that money last year. We were supposed to play y'all in the. So it was that all summer, like all summer. That's all I heard. I was like, all right, bro, we'll see y'all. So that's how it all came about. But it was all love.
Yeah, Coach, I watched that game, and you're absolutely right. The difference was the extra points, and I don't want to make the Imhotep folks mad, but I thought y'all were as equal, if not better, than.
Oh man, we was getting with them, man. But at the end of the day, like I said, like I went in the locker room at that game, and I told our guys, like, yo, we up 18-7, but you're looking at a state championship team who was 15-0 last year, and they're not about to come out in the second half and lay down, and they didn't. So. They finished the game. We started the game. We played the best through 2.5 quarters, and they finished the game and edged us out. So hats off to them.
Coach, talk about you and I just briefly before everybody else joined us. We're discussing the 5A, the talent of the teams down there in 5A, without giving anybody any reason to get mad or like locker room fodder, they call it. Talk about some of the teams that you may have to come face in the postseason, like in weeks 11 and on after that.
Yeah, right now we're looking at if it fares up round one, we're looking at like a Pottsgrove or a Unionville. The teams that we really like feel like we have to get by is obviously a Strathaven. They're decent. Westchester, Ruston, Garnet Valley, Springfield. All those teams are decent. We feel how we feel. Like we ain't gonna sugarcoat it. Like we feel like we the best team, obviously, but it's one thing to be the best on paper and then going out and execute. So that's what the message is for us. All of those teams. All those teams do good things. We feel like they're systematic teams. So we handle their system. We feel like we present a lot and we do a lot of different things, especially offensively, whereas they don't see the level of athletes. They don't see the level of diversity through the offense. And man, it's time will tell, man.
Now, Coach, when you got the job, did you clean house and bring all your own guys, or did you leave some? Did you bring some? Did you keep some guys around?
That's a great question. No, we didn't clean house. Like literally everybody is the same, from the position coaches to the coordinators. The only thing that happened is I went from the running back coach and the assistant head coach to literally just the head coach. Everybody else is the same. And
okay, so you were already on staff. Okay, I was unaware of that.
Oh yeah. I was on staff about for like 9 seasons prior.
And you were recommended too. You were recommended. Your head coach went on to take the athletic department job.
Yes.
Which is very difficult, I think. And some coaches do it, but he wanted to dedicate himself to the AD job, and he knew that you were kind of the man to be his heir apparent.
And I tell everyone, like, we know how we get, man. We know how once we start getting up there in age and our ego and stuff like that, we don't want to move out of the way for the next person. It's just naturally that's what it is. But I tell everybody, man, Coach Bell, who's the AD now, like, it was none of that, man. He molded me for about a year and a half. He let me know, like, yo, in a year or two, I'm gonna be moving out of the way, man. I got to have you ready. And it was just that. He was a man of his word, and he was never like, it was always us as a team. It was always we. It was never his ego. It was never.
That's wonderful.
So
Yeah,
that's one thing that I tell everybody about that transition is, like, he transitioned from head coach at the best state that the football program has ever been in, and that just shows. It's a testament to what kind of guy and what kind of man that he is. Like, all right, I see that we got it this far, but I know that somebody else could take it even further. So let me move out of the way.
Right.
It looks like you picked the right guy.
Yeah. 20-3 later. I mean, he was right.
Right.
Coach, I have a question based on kind of on those lines. Obviously, the players have bought in. And at the high school levels, but what about the overall community? Like, so for sustainability, what is the health of like the feeder program? Do you guys have midget football, freshman?
Another great question. So this whole thing came about, like, obviously, you can't, if you're not a private school, you can't do anything without your feeder programs. Right. Like, at the end of the day, if you're not getting the guys, you're not getting the guys. I don't care how good of a coach you think you are. So I coached youth ball for, I think, 12 years. My cousin, who's the offensive coordinator, coached youth ball for 16 years. So the guys we knew, like, it's guys on our team right now that we coach their brothers. So it's like, we knew what we had coming up. And we was able to, the main thing, which is the topic, maintain and keep those guys in Chester. Just through the relationships that we already had with parents, mom, dad, aunt, whoever the guardian was, we already had those relationships with the kids before they even got to high school. So we didn't have to sell anything. We didn't have to pitch to them that, oh, yo, your son should come to Chester or whatever the case may be. We already had those relationships, and they already had that trust in us. Like, all right, well, Coach Shaw's there. The other Coach Shaw's there. We know that they're going to do great things. Let's make it happen. And there we go.
That's great. Love to hear that. It's all about relationships.
Absolutely.
And trust, yeah. And well, part of relationships is trust. I mean, if somebody trusts you with their kid, you got a leg up. They don't have a reason to look elsewhere, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, as a parent, that's the way I look at things. I want my kid around somebody who I trust.
Yes. And our whole thing, like, it operates off of relationship and trust. Like, our parents have the ability to send their kids to surrounding private schools, such as Cardinal O'Hara, Haverford School, Bonner, West Catholic, schools that are right there. But we always feel like we have an edge now. Obviously, we win it now. Winning cures everything.
Yes,
Yes,
it
it
does.
does. Yes, it does.
But we have an edge when it comes to them going to sit down with a person that's just telling them whatever they want to hear for the moment, and that they're telling 500 other kids, versus we know because they've already proved this. So we feel like we've been doing well in that aspect.
Okay. All right. Well, Coach Shaw, if anybody else has a question, I want to. Does anybody else have a question? Okay.
No.
Thank you so much. That was.
Yep.
We could have gone an hour and a half.
Oh
with
yeah,
that.
for sure.
I mean, and you're welcome. I mean, we're Lingelstown Gazette Sports. You're welcome to do whatever we're doing. You're welcome to jump in. Okay.
Yep.
Maybe
Yeah, I
in
don't
the
want to
postseason.
take up y'all time.
No,
I
that was-
know y'all do y'all little weekly reviews. I told you I watch every Sunday. I tap in with y'all.
Well, we appreciate that. The last
I
thing
feel like
wanna-
asking him, Joe. I feel like asking him about the District 158 tournament coming up.
What District 158 tournament? Nah, I'm messing with you, man. I'm messing with you.
Well, Dennis, I tell you, I'm here at the Delco Sports Hall of Fame banquet, and a lot of people are talking about they want Chester High to win it this year, District 1 champion. I had a lot of Chester fans here.
Yeah, man. I mean, thankful for them, man. But like I said, man, we gotta get the job done. There's nothing else to it. We already know. Our kids already preach it, man. They know what championship or bust is. We gotta get it. We gotta get it done right now. It's nothing else to it. We gotta get it done.
So that's the mentality, right? Championship or bust.
Championship or bust for us, man. Ain't nobody trying to hear what your record was.
I love that. I love
No
that.
excuses. No excuses, man.
Yeah. It's time. It's about the results now.
I would love to see y'all in Cumberland Valley.
Oh man,
Appreciate you, bro.
it's nice up there, Coach Shaw. They do a great
Oh
job.
yeah, I was at the state championship on Emotep side last year.
Pretty electric, huh?
Yeah. So my brother's the running back coach at Rutgers.
Oh, nice.
So
that's awesome.
He was there. Obviously, one of his recruits was playing on a loaded Emotep team, and I remember their coach coming up to me after the game and saying, "You guys will be here next year." So
nice.
I gotta hold it down for them.
Well, you got 5 fans right here, and I mean that. I mean that.
Appreciate
now, the last thing I want to
Salute.
say is we liked Dave last week or the week before. He was wearing an Exit 6 T-shirt.
Ah.
I think we like that, guys, right? Didn't we like that?
I need one of those.
I got y'all.
Here's what we want. We'll work on the sizes later. I'll send you a text or something.
Yep.
Medium.
You give us each a shirt. you give
boys,
us each a shirt.
Boys always talk about a medium. Ain't nobody talking about that large.
I need a large.
I'm gonna tell you what, that Exit 1 shirt will go nice with those orange and black J's. The ones.
There we go.
Say no more.
If you send us four shirts, let's see, 1, 2, 3, myself, you can ship it as cheap as
Dave don't get nothing. He loaded. He
already got one. In return,
You said you cut off, Dave.
Lingelstown Gazette Sports would like to donate $250 to the Chester Clippers football program.
Oh man, thanks.
We want's the 4 shirts. Okay.
Yep.
All
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
I take care of you guys, man.
Yeah, I'll get a check in the mail tomorrow. I mean, I'll find out how to endorse it and whatnot.
Yeah. I got work on that. I had a shirt for y'all by the end of the week.
Okay.
I'm a large.
All right, yeah. Shoot y'all sizes, man. Appreciate y'all for having me, man.
All right,
Chester head coach Dennis Shaw, thank you very much. It's been a great time with you. We wish you luck. This coming, is it Friday?
Saturday. We play Saturday
and beyond.
Yeah, appreciate y'all, man.
Take care.
All right, have a good one.
Okay. All right, so everyone, that's Chester Clippers head football coach Dennis Shaw, and I said it and I mean it. That could have gone on forever. I mean, that was a nice interview, and we
Coach
appreciate.
Got me fired up, man.
How about it, man?
Fired up.
He was making no excuses.
No excuses. I love it. That's the kind of stuff I like to hear, man.
They have got to win. That's the way
they gotta win.
It's kind of like they're on a mission. It's do or die.
Yeah, they got a little taste of it last year, and it's do or die this year.
Okay, so let's move on to. We always have like 2 games that we know one of the 2 is going to be like our lead game or our first game we talk about, and the one that didn't make it that we're going to talk about second is McDevitt and East. The one that did make it Susquehanna Township 40, Trinity 34 in 2 overtimes. And I think we all were watching it. I'm not sure, but we were texting and stuff like that. And man, that was, after what, 2 weeks ago, a week or two ago, that LaSalle and St. Joe's prep, just when you think you saw it all, that game went a little longer than this one, but this had a little bit of everything. And basically that game put Susquehanna Township in a position where if they win this Friday, they win the Colonial Division. Okay. And, for a program like Susquehanna Township, who's been kind of stuck playing in the Keystone with McDevitt, Cedar Cliff, and, and Ben knows, Ben was a quarterback there and a guard, a point guard. There's a shooting guard or both, but you were
Combo.
combo guard. Yeah.
You can say 5'7" combo.
Yeah, I don't want to sell you short. Okay. So Ben's a Susquehanna Township Hall of Famer, but that Susquehanna Township, they're ready to win a division championship, right?
Yeah. Well, going back to the game, what impressed me the most about Susquehanna Township was the 4th down plays by Torrin Evans. He made, I want to say 3 of the touchdowns were on 4th downs.
Yep.
Two of them were. 4th and 10 and 4th and 11. Correct.
Yeah. And the one in the overtime, was that on 4th down? The scramble? I thought that was a 4th down conversion as well. I could be wrong though. But anyways, just those plays they weren't great. The offense wasn't great on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, but on 4th down, when it mattered most, it was touchdowns.
He kept his head so well. Like, as a quarterback, I don't because I'm not one, but to figure out on the fly in the middle of a play, I need to throw the ball, I need to run the ball. He spent the whole game making those decisions correctly, I thought, or at least most of the plays making the correct decisions. What'd you think, Ben?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, on the 4th down, he threw a pick early, came back, didn't get rattled. Right. The defense held strong in the overtime. That was it. Nobody thought that they was going to be able to stop. They thought it was going to come down to a game of extra points or who was going to score that way. But they buckled down in the second OT. They got to stop there. And next week, Milton Hershey actually looks pretty decent.
Man, what happened to them in the last 4 weeks?
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about that. But going back to this game that we're talking about, like Ben said, like throughout the game, like he said it, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down, Hannah was inconsistent. But when it mattered most, they made big plays when they needed them. They made big plays in overtime when the defense, the double overtime when they went for 2 and didn't get it. The defense stepped up because a lot of people was like, oh man, that's game right there because, they're only up 6. All Trinity got to do is score, kick a field goal, ball game. But defense stepped up, and it didn't even have to come down to that. So I think that's the biggest difference between this year's Hannah team and last year's Hannah team is that, in those big moments when they need a stop, they can get them this year. In those big moments when they need a big play to happen, they can get it this year. My thing about them going forward, though, district and playoff-wise, is that the little inconsistencies that we see throughout the game, they have to minimize that in order to be a district champion. You have to be a consistent team to be able to win gold.
Got to play good for 4 quarters. You can go ahead, Mr. Waters.
Yeah, so I'll just say that, in honor of Susquehanna Township, I would say this is one of the top 3 wins in Susquehanna Township football.
It was big.
And I'll say in honor of that win, I'm actually wearing my 1987 Mid-Penn 3 championship jacket here. It's fitting a little snug. It's a little tight. Also want to give a shout out to Principal David Archer. Kind of called me out on Facebook. But yes, Susquehanna, I was hard on Susquehanna, especially in our chat. I kind of said when they were down, I said, "Oh, same old Susquehanna." But Susquehanna stepped up, and as you said, it was really, the rush defense was maligned this year, and it's been a weak spot. but it was the rush defense that actually saved them. Trinity had at the 3-yard line, and they shut them down twice, and one tackle was for a loss. They got great penetration, and I thought Trinity had the advantage in overtime. 10 yards with Christian Joy. I just like, there's no way that Susquehanna is going to be to keep this kid out of the end zone, and they did it, and they absolutely did that. So shout out to them. It's a top 3 victory. Not number 1. I'll say number 3 is 1991 for the conference championship, defeating West Perry 2-0 was number 3. This is probably number 2. I would say number 1 was the victory over McDevitt at McDevitt when Rodney Watkins went off on the McDevitt defensive secondary.
Mm-hmm.
And then Trent, but you got to show that jacket off a little bit. Let me see that silver.
I was wondering.
I didn't realize what it was.
That's metallic. That's metallic.
You got to stand up for a second. What's going on? Like,
that's why I haven't worn it that often. That's why I haven't worn it.
Let's walk through. I thought one of the biggest. It wasn't one play, but it was a series of plays. The one punt gets past Lex Cyrus. Okay, rolls the whole way down to the 4-yard line. All right, they could turn into a 56-yard punt. That's not the point of what I'm about to say. They went down the field in about 3 or 4 plays, correct? It wasn't many, and scored a touchdown. I mean, it's so easy to be back against the wall. You're 96 yards. You just let a ball get by. And this isn't about Lex. Lex, an all-state player and a great guy, great kid. But they walked out on that field, that offense, were like, it don't matter what just happened, you know? And it don't mean in a flash, they were in the other end zone. And I thought that was like one of the biggest moments of the game for Susquehanna Township. And then in double overtime, and I think, Travis, you just referred to it. One of you guys just referred to it. Trinity gets like 6 yards on first down. Okay, now they're second down at the 4-yard line.
That's right.
They have Christian Joy. They have a quarterback that was making some really good decisions for most of the game. And he didn't make a bad decision here. That's not what I'm saying. But they second down, they lost 2 yards. So now you're third down at the 6, and it's a whole lot more manageable than second from the 4. And they just came up with 2 big plays. I mean, just 2 big plays. And they tried like a little screen, like out in the flat on 4th down, and it was covered. You know, the play was covered. It's so easy to just pack the box and cover and just anticipate the run, but whoever the defensive coordinator is, tell me, guys, they had that
Brock Ward.
Yeah. Hats off, man. They had that whole sequence from first down through 4th down. They played it well, and they walked away because they earned the win. There was nothing Trinity did wrong to lose that game. Susquehanna Township won the game.
Yeah, they absolutely did, and they were resilient. They overcame adversity, and that's what you have to do in a big game. You know, you can't get too down, you can't get too high, and you know some things aren't going to go your way. You have to keep chugging away, and that's exactly what they did. And that what they showed the heart of a champion, right?
Yes, they certainly did.
The heart of a champion.
Yeah, they have a makeup of a championship caliber team. We're seeing spurts of it. We are seeing spurts of it, but if they ever put a full game to it with mistake football, free football, man, like they can beat anyone. They can beat anyone if they play their best game.
Just a couple.
What's up with the power rankings at 4 right now?
Right now they're at number
3, I think.
3.
Okay.
I think
and
3.
2 is while missing.
No, they're number 4. They're number 4.
Okay.
I have Susquehanna Township at number 3.
It just something happened, but I got them at 4 right now.
Really?
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, West York jumped them,
and they were way ahead. They were 5. I guess it's 5/100ths of a point.
Yeah, West York jumped them.
Now, why I'm missing has not entered their win from Friday against Octorara. I think they're going to jump ahead of Lampeter Strasburg once they enter that. Yeah.
But either way, that game's going to settle itself because they play each other.
Right.
So Friday.
Torrin Evans, 12 of 24, 182 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an INT. Again, 2 of the touchdowns came on 4th down, and not 4th and 1, not 4th and 3, 4th and 10, and 4th and 11. Again, I'll refer to Ben. That's not easy to pick up 10 yards and 11 yards against a pretty darn good defense, man. That Trinity, they play defense, you know.
And I think he had about 10 rushes for like 50 something yards or something.
You nailed it. 10 carries, 58 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing. I will mention Rakai Seville, the tailback for Susquehanna Township, 20 carries, 116 yards on the ground. Lex Cyrus, 5 receptions, 80 yards and a touchdown. And Christian Joy in the loss, 26 carries, 162 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And they're not just handing him the ball at the 2-yard line. All right. Joy, he makes things happen. He creates plays, and I really like watching him play.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's tough, man. We talked about him earlier. He's tough. He's a tough kid. He runs hard.
Right.
He breaks tackles. He breaks a lot of tackles, like the kid from East. He breaks a lot of tackles.
So what has to happen? Susquehanna Township, if they win the Colonial Division, they host Milton Hershey next week. Win gives them the outright division title. Trinity is at Middletown next week. And then probably, to me, Trinity's probably the favorite to win 3A, but that's for another week and another show. And they got Bermudian Springs and Schuylkill Valley that they're going to contest with. So congratulations to our friend Joe Heeden and his crew, his players, his coaches, the fan base, Mr. Archer, Coach Archer. We know you're a
Principal Arts, Pastor Arts.
Yeah. We appreciate you following us. We're happy for you. So let's move on to Bishop McDevitt 41, Central Dauphin East 21. It was a game that, it was probably a 3 touchdown. The way it ended up was it stayed that way pretty much the whole game, right? Is that what you guys saw? They never really got close. It never really turned into a total blowout. But McDevitt kind of had him stiff-armed the whole game.
McDevitt was in control.
Yeah, East never really got things going, I didn't think.
They had some momentum at the end of the first half when it was 20-6, and they went all the way down and got to the 1-yard line. They could have made it 20-13 before the half. Other than that, they never even had momentum.
What a play by everybody. It was a really nice pass. It was a very nice catch and attempt to get in the end zone. And then there was 2 defenders there. They just kind of squared them up and kept them out. That was a heck of a play. The guys on the broadcast crew, they didn't really make a big deal about that. To me, that was a big deal, that play.
Yeah.
Yeah, so watching this game, really, when I look at it, I think, the way I said last week, State College isn't 55-17 better than East. But watching this game, I thought that even though East moved the ball, the score should have probably been McDevitt probably should have won by a little more.
Yeah.
They kind of played like Harrisburg does sometimes, where it's like they'll keep people around because of some of their own penalties and mistakes. McDevitt really held them back with some of their own mistakes, and that's going to catch up with them in the playoffs if they don't clean some of that stuff. They had a lot of penalties and made a lot of mistakes. Now, East didn't help themselves with some. I mean, they opened up the game with 2 unsportsmanlike conduct calls, and I just don't understand. And I know they're kids, but just someone has to get through to some of these guys. You're really being selfish. You're only hurting your team. Just close your mouth, play football.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, it really set East back to start the game. But East they get 55 points in the last 2 weeks. And I mentioned this in the chat. Watching their defense, they play good. They play good defense at times, but they really do a lot of. They play the linebackers close to the line of scrimmage. So you'll see them get a lot of tackles for loss, but also they get gashed at times as well, just because they're attacking the line. They're so aggressive attacking the line of scrimmage.
Well, East dropped from number 2 weeks ago to number 6 in the power rankings, and I know they have another game to play before, a big game to play before. But the reason I'm saying that is. They were probably going to benefit if they could have won a game or 2 of their final 3 from having a high ranking. All right. It's not going to be easy. If you come in with the number 6 ranking, you're probably going to be playing Central York, Wilson. I can't imagine Manheim Township's dropping down to 3, but let's talk about, I'm getting ahead.
If I could just jump in there real quick. Yeah. One thing I'll say, even dropping down, I'll say is I think there are some solid teams, but I don't think this is not a great District 3 6A field. And I'm not going to say it's wide open because I think Manheim Township, even though you say Harrisburg has been winning, I would say you got to favor at this point Manheim Township. But I don't think this is a great
I agree.
Yeah,
second place,
compared to previous years, I would agree. I would agree with that.
Let's unless you guys want to say anything else about that game, we don't need to talk about Harrisburg and Central Dauphin too much. It wasn't too sexy of a game. I mean,
It wasn't. Harrisburg pulled away late, but it was tight. CD was playing okay.
Harrisburg was only leading by a touchdown midway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about this kind of thing, this kind of phenomenon, only winning by so much and not having big lead with East all season. You think it matters with Harrisburg? They lost against Cumberland Valley, and then let's just say what it was. They kind of struggled. Not to lose. They didn't struggle to win the game. Okay, let's clear that up. They won the game. It looked like they were going to win the game. They did win the game, but I don't think they would be. It wasn't convincing. It wasn't in the manner that you'd be like, wow, that was really good stuff, man. You know, you think Harrisburg's okay?
Honestly, I didn't see it. I saw the last quarter, maybe the last few minutes. I didn't see this game. I was at an event. I saw they opened up, but they came out and for 14-0. I don't know how CD scored. Someone could talk about how CD scored. But again, kind of like McDevitt, it's that consistency thing, and I don't know if there were penalties. I know I saw when Coke got a punt return called back, but those are the kind of things that kind of hurt you if you got to clean that stuff up.
And then their last touchdown was with 22 seconds left in the game.
Yeah,
they just kind of added it on.
And they were scared before that, but they threw the backwards pass.
Yeah.
I think they didn't even go after it and let CD recover it. So again, it's just the consistency and handling their business. I mean, they definitely had a talent. Like they're not as strong up front as they have been in previous years, but they definitely had a talent and they're good enough up front.
Yeah,
it's just the consistency, and you just got to clean some stuff up.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I think right now what's going on with Harrisburg is like offensively in particular, like when they get behind the chains due to a penalty or whatever the case may be, now is where they run into a little problem because everyone knows that they're probably going to pass, and that changes things up now. Now, the defense is specifically covering the pass, so it's not as easy for the quarterback to make the right reads right now. He's still trying to figure that out, being his first year playing the position at this level, in my opinion. But I think if they can clean up the penalties and stop getting behind the chains and find a rhythm offensively, they will be fine. Getting Sheffy back is big for them. He played in the game. He scored. He looked good. But I think overall right now they need to just find consistency. That's the key, and stop getting behind the chains.
On offense, because on defense they're playing lights out. They're playing some good defense right now. They're playing much better defensively. They're more aggressive. They're playing good. And I thought even the past 2 years, one of the weaknesses of the Harrisburg teams has actually been the pass defense if they don't get to the quarterback. But they're playing really good in the secondary right now. And so defense is not the issue. It's just really being consistent on offense. And I would also say too, it's not just reading in the passing game, but when they do that read option, the quarterback has to make the right read because that can really hurt your running game if you're not making the right read on that read option.
Right.
And Ben, that takes a little while to grow into, right?
I mean, with experience.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, it's still his first year, and you might say, yeah, well, he's had enough. I still think he's still growing into being a quarterback. That's my opinion. I mean, I'm just kind of supporting him, and I think that I think he kind of like he's a winner. I really
he showed
do.
flashes, so we know what he can do.
Yeah, right.
We've seen highs and we've seen lows, but I think his body language never gets rattled. So
no, that's what I mean.
So he should be fine.
Oh yeah, I think he'll be fine. He's a good athlete. So
I do too.
He'll be fine. Yeah.
So what about this Harrisburg at East game Saturday at Landis Field? Man, that's a big one for this area, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. East in particular always gets up for this game. They typically last year they played Harrisburg very well. So, I mean, I think this is an opportunity for East to bounce back. I mean, they've had 2 rough games, so I'm thinking this is going to be the game where they correct some things and make it an interesting game. Do I think they win this game? No, I do not. But I do think they can make it competitive.
They have to try to win or lose, and it's possible. They have to try to come out of this game with their chin up. They got to not pick up any bad habits or get rid of whatever bad habits they have now and come out with a little bit of confidence. And, they got to win a game in the postseason, I think. I don't know what their goals are. I talked to 3 or 4, I think 4 of their guys about a month or so ago on the podcast. And, they said their goal is the state championship. And I loved hearing that, But, before you do that, you got to win a postseason game. You got to win one game. And I'd like to see them put themselves in a position where they can do that,
Yeah, I think it's actually like I thought, and someone said this in the predictions for this week that East matches up better with McDevitt than what they do with State College. I do think they match up pretty good with Harrisburg. I think you have to favor Harrisburg, but I could definitely see East making a game. I honestly think this game could come down to who gets fewer unsportsmanlike conduct calls.
Oh man, that's the first I ever heard that one. That's good.
It's good. A lot of emotions will be running high in this game. Typically is. So, Travis is right about that.
And then besides that, let's call Harrisburg, East, Cumberland, or State College and McDevitt. Let's call them the 4 best teams in the Commonwealth Division. You got the other 2 matching up. Whoever made this schedule up, I don't know how they do it. You guys probably do. It worked out well. Okay. You got McDevitt, brand new to the Commonwealth, at least this time around, traveling up to State College. So what do you guys think of that one?
That's like 2 different style of teams right there. And quite honestly, definitely up at State College, I have to favor State College in this game. I just think they're going to be more consistent than what McDevitt is. If McDevitt makes the same mistakes that they did on Friday night, this could be a 2-touchdown game, quite honestly.
Right.
Yeah, one thing I will say about McDevitt, like we all know that they're talented. They have a talented team, but physicality-wise, when you test them physicality-wise, I think that's where they struggle a little bit. And that big reason for that to me is because they're not as strong up front this year. So it's gonna be a test for them up front, I think, in this game, and whoever controls the line of scrimmage will win the game.
And State College is physical.
Yeah,
they got good size and they're physical.
Yeah, good blockers, good tacklers. Yeah, I agree.
I think their quarterback is a little, he moves around the pocket well.
He's nice.
And he throws actually pretty good on the run.
Yeah.
I like, and I'm not saying that they're definitely, but I do like State College in this matchup.
They were a half of a hand away from beating Harrisburg. The blocked field goal. That was like a 20-yard field goal attempt. And I'm never going to take that win away from Harrisburg. They made the play, but that meant that was a really close game for State College to walk out.
That was one of those games too. Again, Harrisburg, State College definitely had a chance to win, but Harrisburg fumbled inside the red zone twice.
Yeah,
so it's that consistency. Harrisburg probably should have had 21 points in that game.
Right. I
you forced turnovers, so hey.
So let's talk a little bit more. Just go around the mid-10, and we were hoping that Mechanicsburg and Shippensburg were able to win in week 9. They both did, so they're both 9-0. Mechanicsburg travels to Shippensburg, and the rubber has met the road there. One of them has to win, the other one has to not win, and that's for the Keystone, the all new and revamped Keystone Division title. I know that Mechanicsburg's pretty darn good. Shippensburg has to be good too to be 9-0. That wouldn't be a bad game to watch, huh?
Not at all. And I keep hearing about Mechanicsburg's wide receiver. So I don't really hear too much about the Gettysburg guy. I just see that they're 9-0, but I'm hearing that
Josh Smith, he's going to be on my show this Thursday.
Yeah, I keep hearing about him. So I'm assuming they have the best athlete on the field. So I'm going with Mechanicsburg.
You ever see him play basketball? Really good.
Wait, what does he look like? The one year they had a guard. He was Asian looking.
That's him.
That's him. Yeah, he's athletic. Yeah.
Ben, he's a combo guard.
Yeah, you see what I
Yeah.
mean? I know what he's talking about.
He
It's
is a
not
combo.
basketball. I
Yeah.
can't play.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Josh Smith.
And you're right. He will be the best athlete on the field versus Chip. Although they got a dual sport athlete too that's pretty good that plays running back. Statham, I think that's his name. Last name?
Jason Statham.
Yes.
Was Jason the older brother?
I think so.
Yeah, Jason
The
might
younger brother.
Yeah, so
The younger
Jason
brother.
was the older brother. Yeah.
The younger brother. They do have him. He can.
Yeah.
He's a good athlete as well, but I think Josh Smith will be the best athlete on the field.
Yep. Twin Valley, Lampeter, Strasburg. That game was nothing.
Ooh.
Nothing. Not what it looked like.
Lampeter Strasburg sent a message to the rest of the 4A.
My goodness. Yeah, there's been a big question mark hanging over, and I'm not saying it's over and done with because Wyatt Missings probably has other ideas and they're going to have a chance to prove it. But yeah, I think we can kind of remove Twin Valley from that 3-team kind of, know.
I think 4A is going to be interesting in this.
I still
really going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's my favorite classification in
Eastern York and Western York is pretty decent.
They're decent.
Yeah, right. So upcoming in District 3, mostly in the Mid-Penn, we have McDevitt at State College, Harrisburg at East, Central Dauphin at Chambersburg. And the only reason I'm mentioning that,
I know where you're going.
Chambersburg has a chance to make the playoff.
Yep.
Okay. They kind of flipped the script on Cumberland Valley, and Cumberland Valley still has a chance too. But they beat, and I mean, after that Cumberland Valley win at Severance Field last week, I thought, man, CV's is going to walk away with 2 wins, and that's going to be it. And and hold on. What about that? I mean, I don't think Chambersburg's quite as bad as boy, I hate to use that term, but like they're not like a Carlisle, or I think they're probably a little better than Altoona, but still, I mean, that's a bad loss for Cumberland Valley.
So,
Chambersburg. I'm gonna say they're the best team in Franklin County.
Yeah, they every year, Ben.
That's saying something.
I'll be honest. Watching Chambersburg play, they match up front with every team in the Commonwealth. And I was honestly watching them play Harrisburg. I'm not surprised that they beat Cumberland Valley, because honestly, I thought Chambersburg played better against Harrisburg than what Cumberland Valley did, because Cumberland Valley's offense didn't move the ball at all. They didn't do anything. It was Harrisburg giving them gifts.
No doubt.
I'm just not surprised that Chambersburg beat them. I mean, Cumberland Valley is really offensively challenged.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy though, because you go from beating Harrisburg to next week losing to Chambersburg. That's tough, man. But Chambersburg's no slouch, man. And now with that win, they put them in position to get into playoffs.
Yeah.
So,
who did they have the last week?
They have Central Dauphin.
Central Dauphin.
They host Central Dauphin. Yeah,
that's going to be a good game.
They're in position, man.
It could be. I mean, Central Dauphin, they struggle to score, but they're still well coached. I don't care if they're 2 and whatever they are, but yeah, they can put together a game. Central Dauphin. So,
they're offensively challenged as well. It's similar to. I see CD and CD and CV kind of like the same team,
right? Yeah,
and Chambersburg, they're all similar.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
and now with not to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
With Cumberland Valley losing that game, now they put themselves in a must-win situation now. And their last game's for Cedar Cliff. So Cedar Cliff, the winner gets in. Whoever wins that game gets in.
Correct. Yeah. Cumberland Valley's at 9 right now. They play at Cedar Cliff. Chambersburg's at 10. They host CD. Then you got, of course, Cedar Cliff's at 11. And I looked at it, and it's something crazy. If 2 of those teams lose, somebody's got to jump up. And if it's Waynesboro, I'm going to petition the we do not need 10. We do not need 10 teams in there.
Waynesboro has to beat Hershey. I don't think they'll do that.
Yeah, they probably won't do that.
I don't think they'll do that. So we won't have to worry about
They
it.
didn't beat Mifflin County. So
and honestly, I favor Cedar Cliff because Cedar Cliff can score points.
Yeah, they can.
I don't think they're great defensively, but they can score points.
Yeah.
And I favor Cedar Cliff to beat Cumberland Valley, quite honestly.
Yeah, they gave up 4 touchdowns to CD, and I don't think anybody gave up 4 touchdowns to CD.
No, they're not great. They're not really great.
And then a couple more big games outside of the Mid-Penn. Wilson at Manheim Township, and that's a big game. And then Lampeter Strasburg at Wyomissing. So there's going to be some games to keep an eye on in the Mid-Penn. Did we lose Ben? No.
Nice.
Okay, so what about then we got 8-0 or Conestoga Valley and Exeter Township. That was a good game. We haven't talked about either of those teams all year, and we don't have to talk about them. But Conestoga Valley 28, Exeter Township 27, and they're two teams that are just kind of chugging right along, and I'm sure that they're going to want to have a say come district time. And then the other team we haven't talked about at all, who's 9-0, is New Oxford in 5A, and I don't know if they're a good 9-0, a great 9-0, an average 9-0.
York County 9-0.
Yes,
but it's
yes,
5A, so it might be all right.
That's kind of what I was going for there. Yeah.
Yeah. So in general, like 5A, the 5A classification in D3 is crazy. Like
it really is.
There's so many undefeated teams. And like,
five.
Yeah, Conestoga Valley, they're 9-0, and they're 6 right now. So
correct.
But going back to New Oxford, who currently holds the #1 seed, they have a huge game versus Eastern York next week. I mean, this Friday. So that should be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. It's going to be a good test for Bud Kyle's team as well. So it should be interesting.
Absolutely. So what about this game, man? What North Allegheny 28, Pine Richland 21. North Allegheny moves to 8-1 on the season. Only losses.
Central Catholic.
Yeah. So
they're going to probably meet up again then.
That's what I just was getting ready to read. We'll probably meet again. I can't see any other 6A schools out there in the Whitfield. They go by, Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, they have like Whitfield 6A, Whitfield 5A. They go by class number, right?
Yeah, classification, yeah.
Yeah, because we try to do that in the Mid-Penn, and sometimes it's, it's not always that way. But that should be that should be a real kind of North Allegheny and Central Catholic should be. That's what real high school football is all about, right there.
Yeah, and that was a good win for North Allegheny, because Penn Richland has looked good all year, so and a lot of people favored Penn Richland to win the game.
Yep.
So,
Montour 36, Aliquippa 35, 2-point conversion. Love to see that team take that chance. Nice play by the quarterback. Did you guys see that? He had patience, right, Terry? You saw that. He kind of stopped. He was running the ball and he kind of planted his feet and he looked around and his guy was right there wide open and kind of in the back of the end zone. But I thought it was a really good call. I thought the quarterback handled it really well. And, and Montour's for real. They're undefeated, They're
undefeated.
Yeah.
And going to D7 4A, Montour's undefeated, and Thomas Jefferson is another D7 team that's undefeated. So correct. 4A, D7 is getting a little interesting now with Aliquippa having 2 losses. Some teams are feeling confident. Montour included. Like pre-game wise, it was surfacing on social media. They put up a video of the little pregame, and they were like, they were going at it with Aliquippa. They was talking to him like they weren't afraid of him at all. And people was like, "Oh, this is different. Like this never happens to Aliquippa." Like, and they were like, "Yeah, time just changing. Like that fear factor mentality is not there."
Eric Thomas, he was texting with us the other day, and he said Montour I forget the term he used, but he said they're fast, really fast, athletic. So they won the game because they probably should have won the game.
Right.
It wasn't probably not a fluke. You score 36 points and take a risk like that and get a 2-point conversion at the end of the game. You earned that win, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I think someone said that Aliquippa isn't as physical. It isn't as dominant up front as they have been in the past. And
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, the guys in the trenches are the ones that make things go.
Right.
On both sides of the ball. So if you take a step back there, you're going to take a step back in general.
Right.
Yeah, and I seen him play twice this game, and in the Penn Hills game, both L's, and that was a difference outside of the mental mistakes that Alacopo made, and also their star running back, best player Hayes, like he's having a hard time staying healthy this year, so he's not 100%. He's not, and that's taking a toll on the team as well.
And it's not a good time of the season to shut them down, to
Right.
get it rested up. It's a terrible time,
Right.
How about Westinghouse 68 Perry Traditional? I think it's called Perry Traditional 0. Westinghouse played with 11 players. From what I heard, 10 on defense. I mean, I don't mind getting controversial and talking about stuff. There was suspensions. I just don't know if we have time for it today. And I kind of get on the fence when it comes to stuff like this. Do you follow the rules laid out? The guys just stormed the field. Okay. You're not allowed to do that. I mean, and there has to be a rule against that, or what's going to stop you from doing it? And I'm not saying like every other game it's going to happen if there's no rule, but and the bad part about it for Westinghouse is that it happened on the opposite bench. Okay. But they suspended 10 of their players too. Who was it again? Help me. Westinghouse was playing. Gosh, I forget who it was now. I shouldn't, but so that's the advantage that the opposition had is it all happened on their bench. Okay, so you don't have to leave the bench to join the scrum, if you want to call it a scrum.
Right.
But let's credit the whoever PIAA or whoever looks into it, the district. They did suspend 10 players from the opposing team too. I kind of felt like Westinghouse was going to win the game anyway. You guys want to make any comments about that? Do you think that they need to follow the by the letter of the law, the rule?
Well, I know as a coach, they always say, watch what you put on paper because you have to stick to it once it's on paper. So if it's on paper, then they got to do what they got to do. But if you take it off paper and then make it subjective, because everything's on video, subjective, because everything's on video now, I guess they could do that. But at the end of the day, they wound up winning 68-0, playing 11-10.
Travis, what do you think?
So I think that if that's the rule, you have to stick to it. Guys have to you have to control your emotions. And let's be honest. I've never seen anyone get hurt in a fight on the football field.
No, you're right. That's a great point.
So your guy's not going to get hurt.
Right.
It wasn't even that serious. But that aside, I'm still trying to figure out how in the hell did they beat Perry like that. And,
wow.
I know it's been a long time, but I remember Perry, the Perry Academy, who beat Berwick in the state championship game. I think it was 1989, 90.
Only District 8 team to ever win a PIAA state championship.
Long removed from those days.
They returned the fumble for a touchdown. I remember iconic play. 92, they won a AAA state championship in basketball. Still High won a Quad A state championship. I had a cousin who played on that Perry team. They had Malik Hightower, went to North Carolina, and I just can't imagine. I just don't know. And I know it was a long time ago, but at this day and age, that you would have 10 kids on the field in defense, and you cannot score points.
Wow.
I just don't understand that.
University.
I mean,
prep.
Westinghouse must be pretty good. Westinghouse must be pretty good.
Yeah, nobody's that good. Nobody is that good.
So somebody's that bad.
It was more so that for sure.
Westinghouse survived. way more than survived. Kirby Lentz said they were playing University prep. Westinghouse. Okay. Thank you, Kirby. We really appreciate that. And here's a team we haven't talked about at all. Clairton, 84-0 over Riverview. Clairton has now outscored their opponents on the season 471 to 14. The only defensive touchdown they gave up all season was late in the Week 8 game against Lynchburg in the fourth quarter. They've given up 1 touchdown all season. And I don't know if it was probably mop-up time, I'm thinking, the fourth quarter, the way they win. So Clairton's got – I think they're the real deal. I was told by Eric Thomas that they're the real deal. Clairton played in 7 of 9 Class A state championship games from 2008 to 2016, winning 4. And then they played in none since then, So it took them all those years up until 2008 to put themselves on the map. And then they had a lot of success for 9 years. And then they've kind of, I don't want to say fell off, but they haven't been back yet. You guys like seeing Clairton back in there? I do.
Yeah, so it's interesting. And one of the and I'm sure they're good. I know they're good. Clarendon kids are tough. But I think one of the issues when you talk about some of the single A and double A programs, if you have a really good team, you're going to run into some of those really big blowouts. Because what happens, we talked about like the changing demographics of some schools, and also people not wanting their kids to play because of concussions.
Right.
So when you have a single A or a double A program, you already have small numbers, and if you have kids who aren't going out, you could really be bad. And then you could have a team that's really good, but even though they're really good, they have small numbers as well, but you don't have backup. So even when you're in the mercy rule, you have your starters out there playing. And you don't have a choice. It's not like they're running the score.
Right.
Still High had to do that oftentimes because you don't have the backups to actually play. So that's why you get some of these really big discrepancies.
Travis, that's such an important point to make. It's a very important. I hope whoever's listening at home who doesn't realize that or understand that whole scenario that Travis just painted, the picture he just painted, that's I mean, you might have 19 players on your whole roster.
Absolutely.
Okay. That means 19 minus 11. You have 8 left on the bench. A couple of them might be dinged up or whatever. So there just isn't much. It's slim pickings when it comes to putting in. There's no second team. Okay. And under that circumstance, there's no second team. Guilfoyle is going to be really good. I don't know about Fort Cherry. They're 9-0, defending state runners up. And 1A looks to be interesting statewide, I think. Do you guys mind if I mention in District 4, Shamokin 48, Loyalsock 7? And I'm mentioning that because John Shaw last week, he made a comment. He was watching. I don't know John Shaw, but he watches the show, I guess. And we appreciate that, John. And he said, what about Shamokin? Like, why don't we ever mention Shamokin? Shamokin moved to 9-0 on the season, have finished over 500 only once in 20 years. So you go from hardly being able to finish over 500 ever to be a 9-0. And Shamokin is, what are they? Are they class 3 or 4A?
4.
Class 4A. And they're ranked 6th in the state right now. So we wish them well. That's true Cole Region football. And John Shaw, there's your shout out, buddy. Thanks for watching.
That's actually good to see because a lot of those Cole Region teams, you lost population, fell on hard times. So it's good to see Shamokin having a good season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they look to be pretty legit. I mean, they have some good wins. They beat Jersey Shore. Stillings Grove's normally decent.
Yeah, they're good wins. It's hard to get to 9-0 without having a couple good wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, and they have their biggest game coming up next week is their rivalry game versus Mount Carmel. So I'm sure they're going to, out of all the games, they want to win that game. Right. Same goes for Mount Carmel. So.
Yep. Well, it looks like we were able to keep things reeled in here, fellas. That's really all I had here. We got Coach Dennis Shaw in and covered a lot of stuff. Anybody else have anything for the good of the group here?
No, I'm glad Coach Shaw came on today.
That was wonderful.
He talked about a lot of good things. He gave out a lot of good advice too to coaches, to everyone. Like if you're trying to figure out how to build a program from scratch, learn. He brought up the youth defeater program being key to his success right now. I'm a big proponent of that as well. But I do hope people, if you missed him, go back and watch the show when he was on it.
Yeah, we started with him first. It's just a couple minutes into the show. Chester Clippers head coach Dennis Shaw. Ben, what size T-shirt? Large?
You get to that medium on it. I need motivation to get in the gym. All right. It's all or nothing. Do or die.
All or nothing.
There's no turning back, buddy. You're going to get a medium. Travis, you get large.
But, I want to wear a medium, too, because I want to get the guns out. But, but the belly's saying a large. Right. I can hide the belly with the large.
Terry.
Yeah, I'm a large. Let me keep it real. I'm a large.
And I'm XL. I could wear a large, but I just don't like the fit. The belly's there for me too.
Joe, I did want to say one thing. I just wanted to revise something I said. I mentioned we're talking about the Harrisburg Central Dauphin East game, and I mentioned who gets fewer unsportsmanlike kind of calls. And I didn't want to send that message that these kids just don't have any self-control. It's an emotional game. So I'm thinking more like talking. The kids know each other. It's just who controls their emotions the best. And that's not getting too low or too high. Just controlling your emotions.
Right.
What you said makes sense. It's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fact.
No, I think Travis just doesn't want it to be.
You don't want no backlash.
For it to be.
No. I know how people take it. I know how people take it.
I got what you were saying.
I didn't take it that way. You don't want it to be misconstrued, and I respect that. I've been doing this for 8 years now, and everything that comes out of my mouth, I watch what I say. First of all, we're talking about kids, okay? But I didn't take it anyway, except that really what I took out of that is the team that exercises a little more discipline will probably end up walking away with a win.
Yeah, and I said it because I don't try to hide it. I'm a huge Cougar fan. I support Coach Cal, I support the Cougars. I've been going to Cougar games since I was in middle school. So so it's
look at Ben showing off the medium physique up there.
Y'all crazy.
All right, so that's going to be about it, guys. We got one more show. Travis, you've been with me since the beginning. I don't know how we hatched this plan. I met you on Severance Field. The way I met Travis, I was on the Terry's group, his Pennsylvania High School Football Forum, and I was looking at comments on, I don't remember what the topic was or what game they were talking about. And I was reading Travis's comments. And I made my comment. I said, I agree with everything that Travis Waters said.
Oh, it was CD the first game of the season.
Is that what it was?
It was in the Central York, and I was talking about the changing demographics. It's
absolutely,
you might not see those powerhouse teams at some schools that we've seen in the past.
Yes, but I totally agreed with what you said. And then just by chance, because God connects people, I met you on the sideline at Severance Field just a couple days later, and that's how this all started, really. I would not be doing this by myself, okay? Just so everybody knows. I'm not going to sit here for 45 minutes to an hour every Sunday night by myself. I've been kind of somewhat bugging Terry for a while now to join me on a show, to do some things together. So that's how Terry, I respect Terry and what he brings. And Ben, you and I worked together once before this down at York for a girls basketball game. And
no, we did a show. We did a couple of shows.
That's right. Over at the Legion too. Yeah. So, I'm just talking here about a little bit about the relationships that we've developed. And I worked with Eric. Eric Thomas. He's only joined us twice, I think. He gave me my first start actually in a broadcast booth. I was doing Central Dauphin games with him and a couple of district championship games. And of course, the voice of Delco, Dave Burman. I don't know what to say about him, but he's on the committee for the Delaware County Sports Hall of Fame, and that's why he couldn't stick with us. They have a banquet. They're inducting or enshrining some new members tonight. So, fellas, for Terry Clark Jr., Travis Waters, Ben Dupree, I'm Joe Gilloway. This is our Week 9 high school football recap show. We will be back next Sunday for Week 10, and then the following Wednesday we'll bring you a postseason preview show. So thanks a lot, fellas. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Have a good evening.